We're live.
Yes, sir.
All right. Hey, yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. Um, yeah, we have a lot of interesting stuff to talk about tonight, and yeah, yeah, we have some cool stuff. What's going on, Josh?
I am just working on some things on the channel on this end. You'll see it in a second.
Okay.
Making a
Yeah, I was
mess
trying to see
before.
if we could get Nelson up here. Be interesting to have his opinion. He's been playing a lot of Returnal lately, so I think it would be interesting to hear his take on everything. He's been like messaging me a lot, just kind of like giving me like his perspective on the game and stuff like that. So,
What
but
do
yeah,
you What do you have to say?
he was just asking questions, like on how things worked and how the mechanics worked, and he's like, yo, you did I almost kill this guy?
Did he what?
He was like, I don't get. Yeah, he was like, yo, did I almost kill this dude? He's like, I can't tell. I was like, I was like,
Is he still moving?
yeah, yeah. He showed me the video. I watched it, man. It was pretty cool. But yeah, he's been playing it a lot lately, so it'd be interesting to have his opinion on everything. But but yeah, so yeah, guys, we got a lot of cool topics to talk about today, man. I can't wait to get into it. We're going to talk a little bit about Returnal, obviously, going judging by the title, Returnal, and the like similarities with Bloodborne. Um, we're going to go a little bit into Ratchet and Clank. We had a lot of stuff that happened this week with that, and yeah, Sony just announced some new controllers, which look dope. We'll get into that a little bit later too. So, so hell yeah, man. Let's uh, let's
Ratchet and
get into it,
Clank.
man. What? Yep, Ratchet and Clank, man.
Uh,
Yep,
oh, guys, that's our new name.
yep. Yeah, man. There's been a lot of drama surrounding that game. That's going to be an interesting conversation.
Yeah, I
But
actually
yeah,
really
Josh,
like
what
it that way.
what have you
No,
you said what?
I was kind of concerned about the like some of the things that they're really excited for the this Rivet character, and I hope they don't
You talking about
sideline Ratchet.
Insomniac?
Well, yeah, yeah. What do you want to talk about first? Actually,
We could talk about honestly, bro. I think we should talk about what you call it, the controllers. That's a pretty small topic. We can get that one out of the way and get some of the meatier stuff after that.
so why don't you go ahead and explain your debacle with the controllers?
I mean, no real debacle. Just um,
When you lose your card
so.
information,
Oh yeah.
it's not really the
Oh
controller
man.
necessarily, but
No. Yeah. No, that was something completely separate. Um, yeah, we so Sony just announced two new controllers, which um they are the Midnight Black and the Crimson Red colors. And I know you've already seen them, and I know we've already talked about it, but dude, those controllers look amazing. And I'm not even a person who buys controllers like that, man. I'm just not. But the fucking those shits look awesome, man. They really do. They really do. And I already pre-ordered them, man. And I know you did. I know you said you pre-ordered both of them too, right? You got the
one
Midnight
from my
Black for
friend
yourself, and
actually, and it pissed me off because he actually got the damn controller. He was like, "Yep, I already got it this morning." I was like, "Fuck!"
bastard.
But I told
Yeah,
him I said, "Cancel that shit,
yeah,
yo."
man.
I was like, "Cancel that shit. Come on."
Throw that shit in the trash.
Cause I mean
I mean,
if I gave him Returnal, I know he wouldn't play it. And I've been down that road before.
yeah.
You know, giving somebody a game and hope that they
True.
play it. Yo, they never do. So I'm like, whatever. I
So
don't want
you
to waste my
you felt
damn
like he
money.
would use a controller.
Say again.
You felt like he would just use the controller instead.
Not use the control. I mean, he would get more use out of it. I'll put it that way.
Yeah,
He,
true,
he'll get more use out of it.
true. I mean, I guess you can't go wrong with that one. Um, but yeah, I mean, they look awesome, man. I mean, I don't know what it is, man, but the way that they look and the color palette, and even they even had like a story behind each color that they chose. You know, where
No,
I think
that
the
I didn't
midnight
hear
black one
about it.
was where, huh?
I didn't hear about this.
Yeah, yeah. Like if you went to the blog post after they announced it, they they literally had, like a small story behind why they chose the colors that they did. So I think the midnight black one was like, um, like it's midnight from like the midnight sky and and all this, and I think the crimson red was something like the crimson color of the stars or something like that. It was crazy, man. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. I can actually appreciate the thoughtfulness behind why they chose colors that they did for the controllers,
They've always been like
which is
that
pretty
because they did
cool.
the same thing with the PlayStation console colors.
Yeah,
So it's not
hell
it's
yeah.
not a, it's not above them to do that. They put a lot of thought in their consoles, unlike some other people.
Yeah,
So
nah, nah, yeah, nah. Facts, man, facts. It's just cool, when you kind of think about it. It's just like yeah, they put a lot of thought into the colors that they chose and whatnot for the controller. So, but I mean, aside all of that, like I said, man, they just look incredible. I mean, incredible. And as far as because you actually fuck, I mean, the cat's already out of the bag. You already mentioned my the whole situation with my card and all that, so,
that's bullshit.
so yeah, yeah, man. I freaking so a little bit of a story time here for you guys. So when was it that they announced the controller? It was on Friday, right? Or
I
was it on
believe.
Saturday?
No, doesn't matter. I don't remember.
It doesn't
Everything's
matter.
fucking flying.
Yeah, I can't remember when they actually announced it. Um, oh, you know what, man? I needed to put that tweet out. But anyway, a little bit of a story time for you guys, man. So when Sony
Hope your ass
announced
can
the controller,
multitask.
yeah, I can, I got you. When Sony announced the controller, right? Um, like I mentioned, I'm not really a controller guy, so I didn't, I was like, they look awesome, right? But I wasn't really like gonna buy them like that. So Josh was actually the one. He was like, yo, I just pre-ordered the controllers. You remember telling me that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think I was at work, and you were like, yo, I'm about to pre-order these controllers, and I was like, fuck, man, them things are like, however much they were. I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna pre-order them because they look great. So I did. I pre-ordered both controllers, the Midnight Black and the Crimson Red controller, and
They really
I
do
think
look
it
dope.
was on. You said what?
So they look dope.
Yeah, they do look dope, man. But yeah, after I ordered the controllers, I think it was on Saturday. I had woke up that morning, right? Just like any other day, and I was like, you know what, man? I want to get some cereal, bro. So, and it's gonna make sense. Like the story's gonna make sense in a minute here. But I woke up that morning and I was like, you know, man, I'm hungry, yo. I'm about to go to Walmart and get some cereal, right? And as I was on like in the process of doing that, I couldn't find my wallet. I just couldn't find my wallet at all. So I like tore my house apart. I tore my freaking car apart, tore like my room apart. I tore everything apart. Like anywhere where I thought that thing would be, I tore it up. I checked everywhere, couldn't find it. Right. So what I did was, I I freaking I reported all of my cards lost or stolen, and yeah, I reported all of my cards lost or stolen, and I had requested them to send out new cards, and obviously when you do that, they change your card number. Um, Once they sent the new cards out, I mean,
Hold
once
on.
they
Pause.
had done
Pause.
that,
Pause. Jeremy, get your ass in here. Go on.
get in here, Jeremy. But yeah, no. I like I said, I had put in a request to get all of my card numbers changed, and I did. I requested to get all of my cards resent to me, and I changed all the card numbers. And why is this important? Because I have my cards linked to everything, every fucking thing. You know what I'm saying? So, and that was including the controllers, the black and the red controller. Uh, so I freaking after I did that, that was like early yesterday, when I couldn't find my cards. So last night I started watching a movie. Right, I started watching what you call it, Man of Steel on HBO, and it was cool. It was just just any regular, and it's like midway through the movie, I was like, you know what, man, I gotta take a shit. I was like, yo, I gotta take a shit, yo. So,
I
and I'm
heard your
talking
story
about like
before,
that.
so
I'm telling you, Josh. Like it was like an ultra instinct one too. Like I was like hobbling to the, I was like hobbling, yo. And then, I whatever. I went into the bathroom, right, and I was just sitting there, whatever, right. And then I saw at the bottom of the, like we have a vanity in the bathroom, right. At the very bottom, I saw like a black corner sitting underneath the vanity, and it took a second for my mind to process it. I'm like, what is that? What am I looking at? I'm like, what the hell am I even looking at? And then as I'm looking at it, I'm seeing like little like pieces of paper sticking out of it. Because sometimes you just stick stuff in your wallet or whatever. I see like little paper sticking out of it, and I'm like, I'm looking at this thing. I'm like, that's my motherfucking wallet,
yeah, that would piss me off.
bro. And it was sitting right there, man. All day. And it irritated me so bad because um the freaking, like I said, all of my stuff is is linked to my card. But like I said, I had torn everything apart. Everything. I tore up the car, the room, everything. Where I thought that my wallet would be. What I And I even went back to the store, man, where I had last used it the night before, and they didn't see it. They were like, "Nah, I don't see nothing. I can't help you." I'm like, "Ah, fuck." Right. So I come to find out, I guess at some point that night, I forgot to factor in my equation that maybe I had to take a night before.
That's fucking crazy. Oh
and my
boy.
and my wallet had fallen out of my pocket, yo. But anyway, the reason it's even related to the controllers is now I have to go back and change all of my card information for my order for the freaking cards, man. But I gotta wait for it to come back in. I gotta wait for the new card to come in. But yeah,
Who searches
that
two
was my
hours and
little.
cancels all day cars? Well, apparently Ken, the dishonorable, does. It's so. All right,
That was my little debacle with the freaking cards, man.
I've had a similar situation before too. Just to be clear, mine took 2 years to figure out where it was though. I was I was eating in my car. I was eating, McDonald's or whatever the case is, and I set my card where the dashboard, right where the what do you call it, the windshield or whatever. I'm sitting there eating or whatever the case is. I go throw my shit away and drive off, and I'm like, oh shit, I need gas. And I'm like, where the fuck is my card? Where's my card? Where's my card? And I'm flipping out. I took everything out the car, everything, trunk, everything. It was totally bare bones, stripped down. Couldn't find that shit. Asked McDonald's if they have it. Looked in trash. I mean, I dumpster dove and shit, man, just looking for the shit, and I didn't find it. So anyway, I went to my bank and asked for a card and canceled everything, and everything was cool. When I get ready to sell my car, I'm sitting there. I set something else on the dashboard, and I looked. I said, "What the fuck is this blue thing there?" And I reached expired card and everything, man. It was fucking. It fell backwards. It slid where the fucking vents were for for the defrost and shit like that. I was pissed, man. I was super pissed. But please excuse
Two
me
years later,
today. 2 years later, please excuse me today. I am I'm suffering from just a slight headache. I've skipped coffee, just inadvertently, just wasn't really feeling it. And now I'm getting withdrawals and stuff like that. So I need to amp this shit up. So we have some topics that are delicious for today, right? Now we've already covered the controller, so we're gonna dive just a little bit deeper into this, right? And as you know, this is a PlayStation podcast. It's a PlayStation podcast, and we have to compare PlayStation shit to everyone else, right? Now here's the thing, right? There was a lot of enthusiasm with these controllers. I don't know why. Maybe it was the marketing. Maybe it just looks nice. But ultimately, it's the same color. I mean, it's the same controller, just with different colors. So why is it so sought after? People are hyped for these things. And I don't see that energy with the Xbox. These Xbox controllers. Maybe it's just the overabundance of controllers that they keep putting out every 3 days. But I mean, they got all sorts of fucking every color under the rainbow, LGBT color, everything you want. Why do you think that is?
Yo,
Yeah,
freaking Cheeto, like non-greasy Cheeto controller. They have everything,
they
yo.
have
Non-grease.
every single color under the sun. Everyone. So I remember there was some speculation. They were like, "Oh, it's called Sonic Blue or some shit like that." And they were like, oh, "Microsoft's gonna buy. They're gonna buy Sega." They did the whole
I saw that.
Japanese.
I
I
remember
was
that.
like, even if they did. So that laugh is not from anime. It is actually from. How do I put this? I had a manager. I used to work at CVS years ago, right? And I remember she locked herself out. Like she locked her purse, and she tried to. After we all left, she tried to get in there, and she kept like trying to get in. She was like, "Wait, hold on, guys, wait before you leave. Let me get in there. Let me see what I'm gonna do." And she's going in there. She's turning the key. She's jiggling. She's like, "Oh, it's stuck. It's really stuck." And she just kept laughing like that. I looked at my coworker like, "What the fuck is this bitch problem? The hell is her problem?" So she just, she just kept like wiggling. So for like 15 years, I've been doing that. So about
You actually never told me that, yo.
no,
I
no,
actually didn't even know that.
nah. That's the story behind that. That shit was stupid. I was like, this fucking bitch weird. Me and my
No,
friend
but
had
it's funny though that it actually fits so well though.
me and my friend had like such a like backstory to everything that looked weird. We were like, yo, she's actually AI, and she's like glitching and shit like that. The way she was like wiggling, we were like, yo, her animation, her skin animations are like glitched. We were it's sort of shit that we was, yo, we would talk like we were high, but we weren't. Like it was like really weird. But anyway, Ken the Dishonorable, what do you think? Why is there a lack of excitement for PlayStation or Xbox? Because they're doing the same thing too. You know. So what?
You mean in terms of like just the controllers?
Yeah.
Um,
Did you send out that tweet? By the way,
I did. Yeah, I did.
I didn't see anything.
I used the other. I used the other. I didn't tag you on it. My bad. Uh,
Did you use the thumbnail?
but yeah, I sent it out though. I used the one that we have in the Discord. I didn't use this other one that you just
No,
sent
yeah,
to me.
that's the one that we. That's the only one. Like, if I don't have a thumbnail for it, that's like like the default one.
Oh, just a generic one.
That's
Okay.
a
Yeah, no,
generic
that's
one.
cool.
So like every one that we're gonna have every week, we're gonna be putting we already have the template, so we're just gonna have to edit it. I mean, we got the topics and everything built up like we did with this new one. All right, so you said you put it in there. You sure? I don't see nothing.
Yeah, yeah. I just sent it out, man.
All right, cool.
On Twitter. Yeah, yeah. I just sent it. It should be live now.
All right, cool whip.
But Coof whip.
Cool whip.
But But yeah, in terms of the lack of hype, I guess I don't know, man. I think you pretty much said it though, man. To be honest with you, man. I mean, when you have like when you don't really have much to show, and that's really all you're showing, like our controllers, like just a fucking barrage of controllers, every color under the sun and the sea and the stars and sky and heaven. They got grease resistant controller. I mean, they have everything,
I
dude.
wouldn't be surprised if they
They,
have PlayStation Blue, like that,
bro,
the,
they
the rate
have
that they're going.
crazy, man. I mean, like don't get me wrong, like it's not like a bad to have different variety of colors and controllers or whatever, right? I'm not really against that. It's more like when you have more controllers in games, that's a problem. You know what I'm saying? That's a freaking
Damn.
problem. And I think
The
that's
shade,
like
the
the biggest.
shade.
It's like, dude, you got more games. You have more controllers in games, dude.
That
Like
was
that's
shady.
not
That was
cool.
shady as
You
hell,
know what I'm
yo.
saying?
Just to be clear, that was real shady.
It's just
You better hope Phil Spencer ain't listening, yo.
and yeah, man. And people talk about like why motherfuckers ain't hyped for this shit. I'm like, nigga, you got more controllers and games, nigga. It's like,
I can't
I
wait
mean,
to give my friend a call and be like, cancel that shit, or I'm
throw
not
that
gonna
shit in
ever
the
be your friend
trash.
again, yo. I just
Throw that
dropped the
shit right in
Grizzop
the trash.
on these fucking controllers, yo, and I would have been happy with that black one. Speaking of which, they need blue, yo. They need blue. Like on some real shit.
They do.
That's my favorite color, yo. Just by the way, I got a blue car. I got
That'd be cool, man.
I got blue. I got a blue blanket. I got blue balls. Man, I'm all
You got
blue.
blue balls, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was about to say you got blue balls.
Mhm. Until I go to
Oh
until I go to
man,
until I
but
go to
yeah.
Florida, and then the fun
Yeah,
begins.
man.
Now the
Yeah.
adventures never ends. Dragon. I'm sorry. Go on, please.
No, 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 no. You're good, bro. Keep singing, man. I
Mm-mm.
wanna I wanna hear that soft voice, man.
Yo, you fall asleep during my other videos I create, I'm gonna be pissed, yo. I'm tired of y'all niggas falling
Nah, I
asleep,
watched all
yo.
your videos.
All the time, yo. I talk to Terry when he's there, yo. And he falls asleep, yo. He be like, "Yo, man, what's going on, man?" I'm like, "Yeah, nothing much." "Yeah, man." I'm like, "Come on, man. Don't be going on the phone yawning in people's ears, man." I don't know what's up with that. I got that Jigglypuff voice.
Oh yeah, man.
Anything else that
Yeah, but
we want to kind of like touch upon or discuss?
with the controllers,
Yeah.
um, no, I mean that's pretty much it, man. I mean, I think like you said, man, the lack of hype is really just from the fact that, you know, I think it's just too much. I mean, they just have too much. Like they have all of these controllers, but they don't have any like games to go with it. See, like for Sony, it's like the opposite. You know what I'm saying? Like they have a bunch of fucking games coming out, but then they drop these two awesome looking controllers. You know what I'm saying? So and then on top, like I swear to God, dude, the timing was perfect, man. You know what I'm saying? Because they had dropped the previews for Ratchet and Clank, which obviously everybody was on that. You know, and we're gonna get into that whole thing too later on. But they dropped the previews for Ratchet and Clank, and everybody was hyped for that. You know what I'm saying? And that's coming off of the hype for Returnal. Like everybody's been talking Returnal, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And then they dropped these two. They're just like, hey, you know what? Take it. We got these two awesome looking controllers, Midnight Black and Crimson Red. And not only that, we got a story behind the way we chose colors. That's cool as fuck. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know what the story
So
was for PlayStation 1, but I do know the story behind the PS2. They said something about like the infinite space that they chose. It's actually, I think the PlayStation 2 is not even black. That's a extreme dark blue. That's what that's
is it really?
yeah, it's a blue color.
I actually didn't even know that.
I thought it was. Let me see if I can find it. I think you
Hell
type
yeah, man.
in.
It's cool.
I used to be like,
Yeah,
I
man.
was
Let me
like,
pull
man,
it
they
up.
got a lot of passion for this shit, yo.
Yeah, you could
Um,
see it, man. You
the,
could definitely see like the kind of like thought provoking stuff that they put into
it,
their products and stuff like that, man. I mean, just all around games, controllers, you know, and it's cool. Like it. I mean, like don't get me wrong. Like the controller. the controllers they look awesome and stuff like that. The colors and whatnot. But it wasn't really like a big announcement. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like a massive announcement. It was just like, you know, here, take this on top of all the other cool stuff that we have shown you. You know what I'm saying? So it just kind of like it just adds to it. You know what I'm saying? Adds to the whole situation. And then on top of that, you see all of the, like I mentioned, the way that they explained how they chose the colors for the controllers and stuff like that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like you could see the type of passion that they put not only into their games but also into like these smaller announcements too, um, with the colors and everything. So, and I think people feel that, honestly. To be honest with you, I think people can actually like detect that sort of passion. Like when obviously you have a great game coming out, but then you have these cool controllers, um, like that has like a similar level of thought and passion put into it as well. You know, so I think it just sort of adds like this whole culture of like passion. Passion and fucking dope ass games and shit.
The PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 2's controller. I know I'm sorry, the console color, and I know I'm like going back to that one, but it kind of reminds me, or the PlayStation 5 controller colors reminds me of like the loading or the boot up for PS2. It's the little touches like that. I feel like it's pretty cool.
Did you actually find it? What the color was for the PS2?
I'm looking for it now.
Huh?
I'm looking for it now.
Okay. Yeah, because that'd be pretty cool to know. I actually didn't know that it's supposed to be. You said it was a dark blue.
It's supposed to be like a. They keep saying it's matte black, and it's not. I know it's not. Sony came out and said what the color is,
Yeah. No,
but I think,
I didn't know that
but I
at all.
think it's because, and it's probably the thin one probably is a matte black. Take a look here.
Oh, you're talking about the old fat one.
Yeah, that one.
You know what, man? Now that you mention it, I remember that one actually not being completely dark like the slim version. That'd be pretty cool, man. If you could find it. No, I mean that was pretty much all I had to say about the controllers. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not even really like a controller person, you know. I mean, outside of just getting controllers just to need them, like to replace like broken ones or busted ones. Um, Not really like that into buying controllers. You know what I'm saying? But
I
I
wasn't
don't know,
either.
man.
Like I have no. My friend, he has like massive controller drift, and I don't know what he's doing either. He plays Apex, and he's gone through three controllers that have controller drift, and I'm like,
The dual sense?
a dual sense, yeah. Don't
I
know
don't
what
know,
he's
man.
doing. Don't know. I'm like, what the fuck are you putting in your pocket?
This guy's probably smack. You remember back on the PS2, where you had to like roll the analog stick to do stuff. You know what
Which
I'm saying?
one?
Like in the old Dragon Ball games or something like that.
Which one?
When like on the PS2, right? When like for example, I remember when we played like the old Dragon Ball games on PS2. Whenever you got into what do you call that? Yeah, yeah, like a struggle with their attacks and stuff like that. You would roll the analog stick. You know what I'm saying? I'm surprised them things didn't break, yo. He must be doing something like that.
He says he's not doing anything, and when he plays Dragon Ball, actually, is he's not using the analog stick. So, I'm really, I'm kind of baffled. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know. Like,
Yeah, I don't know, bro. He must be doing some crazy like exorcisms or something with that thing. Yeah, I don't know.
cause I let him
But
remote play, which I was super disappointed in. I let him play Returnal, using the remote play. Man, he was like, it's cool. I'm like, oh, this
he
is.
probably didn't understand it.
He was like, he's played, but he loves the Souls games, so he knows exactly what the fuck it is. I'm like,
He liked the Souls games, but he didn't like what was going on with Returnal.
apparently not. I don't know. And I know I'm pretty good with explaining shit. So I'm like, I mean, like what we like really? I don't know. I can't get mad at people for their taste. He wants me to pick a
Yeah,
Resident Evil, yo. I'm
to
just like,
pick one.
pick up Resident Evil.
Oh, pick it up. I mean, why wouldn't you, Joe? I mean, did you not see lady? What's her name? What is her? How do you pronounce her name,
I
man?
don't know. Democles.
Dimitris.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, something like that.
I have
You know,
a
there's
I
been
have a spell. I have a thing that converts words. I still can't find it. I think it was in a video. I don't think this is like really well known information. I'm pissed I can't find it, but either way, let me see here. Lady, there we go. So you guys are gonna hear it yourselves. Bitch, copy it. We're gonna figure out how to pronounce this bitch's name. I shouldn't say it like that.
Dimitris. It's something like that, man.
I have like
You
a
know, you know, you'd smash, man. Stop messing around.
man. My penis is nowhere near as big as to fit through that hole. I'm sorry. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it a buck, yo. She got her hole too big. So
You could probably fit your whole head in that thing, yo.
how the hell you even get kids? How you get a daughter? What BBC did you mess with to get that daughter? Anyway,
Yeah, I know, right? I know. Let me meet the father, yo. How'd you do it, bro?
Dimitrescu.
that's her name,
Dimitrescu.
Dimitrescu.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that.
Dimit
Damn it.
Dimitris.
Absolutely not.
Dimitris.
No, I'm not saying it like that. Sorry. Sorry.
I know you've seen like a bunch of videos with people like slapping her ass with stuff.
With a fly swatter, and she turned around, she looked, and
Yeah,
she made it wiggle, and then she kept going. I said, "Oh, Capcom." Well, she didn't make it wiggle, but it did look like it.
yeah, yeah. It was funny, man. I don't know. I still didn't understand like the whole that whole thing, man.
I don't know
Everybody's like
who did. Well, I think I know. Because let me not say it, but
everybody
actually, let me say
right
it. Huh?
now. Just be honest. Everybody's down bad right now.
What you say?
I said everybody's down bad right now. That's what it is.
Down bag.
Down bad. Down bad.
What the hell is that?
Down bad. No action. No play. No cookie.
Oh, I never.
No.
No, it's just you got this. You got
No,
the girl power.
no
You got the
female attention.
you got the girl power right now. That's all. You know, everyone wants a girl to be better, like significantly better than a man instead of being equal. But okay, that's what's happening. Jemiah said
Yeah,
the U
man.
is silent. So
What?
Dimitrescu, he said the U is silent. Nigga, how you know? Oh, cause it's French. Fucking Jemiah is
Yo, bro. I bet you.
Jemiah is
I
Haitian.
guarantee you, he was leading the pack with that. Though.
Who Jemiah?
He probably had her. Yeah, yeah. He probably had her in the freaking all types of skimpy outfits on his PC, yo.
No, he had that Spider Man mod.
That motherfucker had.
I showed that shit to him one day. He was like, "What the fuck?" And then he saved it. Anyway, so we'll be done with the. I'm not even gonna say what that Spider-Man mom was. I'm gonna keep that as an inside joke. So, what are the next topics we want to speak on?
Um, what was it? Ratchet and Clank and Returnal. Uh, yeah. Let's talk about Returnal, man. Returnal and Bloodborne. We were getting into that conversation a little bit yesterday, man. And it's actually a pretty interesting conversation. So yeah, hell yeah, let's talk about that.
Which one?
The one about Returnal and Bloodborne, and or just the Souls games in general. You know, we were kind of like just talking about like some of the similarities and stuff like that, um, and the differences and how like Miyazaki tells his stories and how they like craft their worlds as opposed to like what nobody even knows his dude's name. What's his name? Henry Kruger or whatever.
Wait, which one?
The
Wait, I'm
creator.
sorry, I got sidetracked because there's a there's a Puerto Rican like Poppy and the no, he's what is he again? Nicaraguan, I think he said Nicaraguan. I think that's what his name is.
Puerto
he's under him. He's masquerading as a black guy. I what's going on, Pablo? That nigga was like, I'm masquerading as a black man. Anyway, so I'm sorry, which one were we talking about?
going on over here. I'm about to play.
Say again.
Hold on, man. My internet is going in and out, I think.
Tell everybody to stop downloading porno.
That's tough, man. That's tough. I mean, especially now that Ella Balinska is my new baby girl.
What you gonna do with that gap of hers?
I'm gonna do whatever. I'm gonna stick everything in that thing, whatever I can fit in there.
Lord Jesus.
Yo,
Jesus Christ.
you can't tell me she's not sexy as hell, man. Anyway, no, I said we could talk about Returnal and what you call it, Bloodborne.
You want to talk about that one now instead of the Ratchet and Clank?
We could talk about Ratchet and Clank. Yeah, we can get that one because there was a lot going on with that shit too.
Oh, I mean, it's up to you. I was just asking. I was making sure I heard it right because you cut out.
Yeah. Well, I said we could talk about the Bloodborne and the thing with Returnal, like just some of the stuff that we're talking about, the similarities and how they do the story and stuff like that. But I mean, it really doesn't matter. We could go with Ratchet and Clank. It doesn't matter to me.
Well, you chose the Bloodborne and Ratchet, Bloodborne Ratchet and Clank, the Bloodborne and Returnal. So we could do that. We could do that. I thought that Ratchet and Clank was kind of like a benign, like a small topic, but we can do that for sure. That being said, so this is actually an interesting topic that I think is an interesting topic, only due to the fact that it's the Souls games are known for their challenge. They're very niche games, right? And people just sit there and they're like, okay, well, it's one of the hardest games that you'll ever play, which that's not true. We just was conditioned with fucking hand holding for like 10 years plus. So there's that. So there was no other game that kind of challenged. Even Doom Eternal and other Doom, people say that was difficult, and it was nothing like the Souls games. That game was very easy. I know you didn't play it, Kim, but it was easy. It was easy as hell to me personally. So,
I mean, I've never really been like a huge Doom fan, but
I wasn't either. I got into it because I was like, let me see how well it runs with the 60 frames per second, and it does never drop. So never drops, and it's really good looking.
I said, and then that Doom music kicked in.
And the music's really good too. It's really good though. But going back to the Souls games, it was known to be one of the most popular and most difficult to this new generation of people in the 7th generation. And they started with the Demon Souls. They From Software actually made other games on PS1. It was unrefined as fuck. So I think it was Kingfield Games. I don't know, something like that. It was a first person game. And because of
dungeon crawlers.
What is that?
They were like dungeon crawlers.
They were dungeon crawlers. So a lot of the inspirations, the health, the stats kind of moved on to the Demon Souls. And in Demon Souls, because of the lack of games on the PS3, people gravitated towards that. And it had like an old school feel. Like back in that generation, PlayStation 3 was known to be hardcore, or to be the gamer console. If you didn't want to play shooters, which was the 360, you would have definitely went to the PS. Let's talk about J. Cole. This nigga said, let's talk. What kind of side note, right? Side note, I'm kind of curious about the type of beats J. Cole's album is. I was going to pull the trigger based off of what you said, but I want to know what kind of beats it is. So either way, going to that, right. So people kind of gravitated to Demon Souls and they liked it. So one of the things, I don't know if it was a lack of money or whatever the case is, but the game was basically built off of not telling you about the world and you using the blood stains to figure out, or the notes that you can leave for other people, so you can figure out what's going on and people can give you like low key notes and shit like that. So there's that. And that great that it wasn't a big following, but it did. And obviously the IP is Sony's, so they kept it. Then they moved on to the PS. No, they didn't move on to the PS4. They made Dark Souls. That's what happened with them. So they did the Dark Souls. From that point on, the Dark Souls made like the little following. It actually helped From Software out a lot. They kind of focused on. They used to focus on Armor Core and Tenchu, and when they got money from that one, they've been doing that. So either way, it still kind of holds like old school kind of like sentimentalities. So that's what's going on with that one. And they held the crown for one of the most difficult games. Up until this, there's been other, what do you call those types of games again? Roguelike games. And what makes them difficult is, progression and losing your difficulty. But this one is different. It's almost like a new genre. Because not only is this a roguelike game, but it's also a bullet hell game from the makers of Resogun. And it is also completely based off of your skill and understanding of learning the patterns of the actual enemies you fight. They're televised just like the Souls games, but the Souls games focus on melee, and this one focus on ranged combat. Both actually still have patterns instead of like enemies have patterns. So you still have to kind of understand the patterns either with the enemies' animations or their bullet hell. And when you see the Souls games, you have to watch their animations. Um, so now that I kind of introduced everything, what do you guys say about all this? Returnal has checkpoints.
Mm,
It's halfway through the game, so it's 6 biomes, and when you get to the third biome and beat that one, then you have the other one. Technically, you can probably beat Returnal in like 4 or 5 hours straight. And they have a new game plus supposedly as well, but it's completely contingent on your skill set for sure.
facts. Um, so my thoughts on it. Uh, I don't know, man. I think they are fundamentally very different games, um, but they do have some similarities. Um, and I remember, like you were talking about, uh, you mentioned something about like if Returnal would do better than the actual Souls games in terms of like how they deliver their story and stuff like that. I don't know, man. I think they're very different games because you also just did mention that one is a more melee focused game, the other one is a more like shooter type game, like distance, range, combat, stuff like that, which is true. Uh, but me, I like I said, I think they're very different games in terms of like how they function. Uh, but it's cool to see like how what they did with Returnal, similar to what they did with Dark Souls, how they integrate the actual like what can you say, like the rogue like aspect into the actual story. You know what I'm saying? So like the fact that you die, like because a roguelike game is you it's like a trial and error. So you go through it, you die, you learn more, you unlock stuff, you hit checkpoints. You know what I'm saying? And you keep it pushing. You know what I'm saying? When you die, you go back. But here with Returnal, it's cool because like they kind of like implemented the what you call it the roguelike into the story. Which is cool. So when you die, it gives you like a narrative, a story element to it. Um, that you can kind of like dig into and stuff like that, right? And it's similar. It's similar, like in that way with the Souls games, because, and this is one of the reasons why I absolutely love the Souls games. And I really don't play anything, not anything, but they just do it so well, you know. with how they integrate every single thing.
Give me 1 second.
You know what I'm saying? Like they integrate everything. Um, they integrate everything like into the gameplay and the story and all that stuff, man. Um, so every like there's so much like minute detail with how they build their worlds and how they like make everything correlate with how the actual game functions. So that's pretty cool, man, because you can see like how Returnal is doing some of that too. Um, do I think Returnal is doing it better than than the Souls games? I don't know, man. I'm hard pressed to say that, man, because I think Housemark, they did a fantastic job of storytelling with Returnal. I do think, just to continue our conversation from the other day, though, um, I do think that their story is a lot more like straightforward. You know what I'm saying? There's and like you
I'm hearing
mentioned,
other
there's not
things
like a
too. Like
whole
I'm hearing other things. So I'm trying to dodge that shit like the Matrix. I'm hearing a whole bunch of craziness with the story, but I still feel like it
yeah.
is really can go into a certain direction. I do want to interject really quickly, and I apologize.
No,
Now
go ahead.
you mentioned this. You say, is it better? Is it doing things better? Well, they're two different games. What I will say, and I'll explain this shit to you, Pablo. The way that they have things set up with Returnal, or with the Souls games, is that they put you in the world. They don't really explain to you how to do certain things, nor do they like. Hmm, they give you like a general idea of how to play, but they rely a lot on either jump scares or just throwing something at you so you could deliberately die to slow you down. So like even if you do pass a checkpoint, your next area is going to throw something at you that you haven't experienced in the other areas. And there's no way for you to kind of like sit back and try to scope out the place. Whereas Returnal does not do that. Returnal does put enemies in your face, but they give you a lot of warnings as to what's going on. And the enemies actually have these conditions, if you will. Um, Whereas the better you get at the game, the shorter their wind up time to hit you becomes. You know what I mean? The more enemies they throw at you. Those elements are random, but not random to the point where it, it's like one enemy and then maybe 10 of them next time and then maybe 5. It's still looking at your stats. And I discovered this
Wait,
shit
wait, wait, wait. What do you mean with like the wind up? What do you mean by that? Like you
whenever
said, there's a wind up and
yeah, whenever an enemy does something, there's a wind up. Either they glow, they make a certain sound effect. None of that happens in Bloodborne or the Souls games. They just do it. There's wind up animation wise, but that's pretty much it. You got to kind of look at the enemy, and then sometimes they're like, "Fuck it, if you've never seen this before, oh well," you know. So you get smacked, and you have to deal with that smack immediately. You know what I mean? Yeah, you just have to deal with being getting your ass beat. Now that's the wind up. So like there's bats in Returnal, and what it will do is it's about a 1 second wind up. So it'll be like right. It raises its thing, its wings, and it glows orange. They televise what it's about to do. I don't know how it looks at you getting better. Maybe it's the items. Maybe it's time you played. I don't know what they're doing, but that whole becomes so you don't have much time to like dodge. They also give you iframes as well, and you get to kind of like, and they kind of tell you that you can phase through things and stuff like that. That's supposed to hurt you. You know what I'm saying? But the dash allows for you to be invincible for that second. So they have things like that. Um, but the enemies, like I said before, the enemies will appear. You know what I'm saying? And they don't just drop on your face. I remember I was playing Demon Souls, right? And I'm running across a bridge. And you hear things, and they're making these sounds, you know, and you're like, okay, cool, they're kind of far. And then they just spawned an enemy on top of my head, like literally, as I was running. Like, there's nothing you can do with that one. There's no get good with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not criticizing the game because that's how they want it to be. The game works as being more troll than being
it is.
more than being more skill set. Now you become really, really good. You can, if you know where everything is, like I guarantee you, if they make another Souls game, you're immediately going to get hit or die by something that you couldn't anticipate. And that's not how Returnal
Yeah.
works. It's not.
No, no. Like, yeah, Returnal is a lot more like, when you go into a new area, there's an obvious threat there, but um, it gives you the opportunity to find a way to deal with the threat. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, you know. Uh, and obviously, there's like a learning curve to it because like when you encounter the enemy for the first time, you're not really gonna know how to fight them per se. So you still have to figure out like, what is the best way to kill this enemy? How do I approach the combat to kill the enemy? And then like they start layering stuff. Like then they throw bats at you, they throw turrets, they throw those things that lunge at you, the big gorilla looking things. They throw the freaking the tree. I forgot what they're called, but those like tree things
the,
that they
the,
throw
the I am Groots.
those things, yeah. They throw all of that at you at the same time, man, and they do it like obviously randomly as you go through each stage or whatever, right?
But it's not
um
random. It's like it's random, but depending on your skill level, it's how much and how intense. You know, because I can guarantee you, none of that happened when you first played the game. There were no bats in the first area. You know what I mean?
no, no. No. No, no, yeah, I don't know exactly how they like scale the difficulty.
It's
I
real.
don't
It's in
know,
real
but
time. It's make no mistake. All of this shit is real time, for sure. Like the
yeah,
difficulty scaling is real time, not like it's looking at your end stats and then adjusting. Every room you go into, the game is looking at what you got and what it could do to challenge you.
yeah, true.
And I wanted to say this before you go on. So there's a, I guess you can say that the first area, which is the overgrown ruins, is basically a hub world. So once you beat a boss, yes, there's the world is kind of like randomly generated, but each room has like the overgrown ruins has an area for which you can go through all of the biomes. From my understanding,
Yeah,
it's just
yes,
locked
it
out to
is.
you until you get the key. Now, what they'll do is they'll give you a proper upgrade after you beat that boss, and you go to the next biome. They'll give you a proper upgrade to allow you to go to another area and skip over it. So it's you still spend time to get to the area, but it's no more. If you really want to run to it, it's probably no more than a minute, maybe 40 seconds to get to where you need to. And you can still escape enemies unless they put a lockdown. And usually they put lockdowns on you if you're well equipped. So I'm assuming it goes by the proficiency level and it goes by your weapon. Proficiency level is how strong your weapon is, how much your upgraded weapon, what is your damage, what is your potential um, loot drop for your weapon is. The more you kill, the better your loot is for your weapons. So if you killing a lot of
Yeah,
things and you're nasty with it, they'll start giving you better weapons according to your level. But also, they'll start throwing more enemies at you. So I tried this yesterday. There's a third biome which is fucking rough. Everybody knows this shit is absolutely rough. You can get there two ways. You can either get there by going through the second biome and kind of like, getting some health, right? So you got that shit going on. And then you can kind of skip a lot of the second biome to get to that place because there's a shortcut there too. Or you can stay within the first biome and get there. Now, if you decide to run through this first biome to get to the third biome, you'd be underpowered until you get into the first area. So what I noticed is that if I leveled up by killing enemies and finding better loot, and if I go to the third biome, the actual chests that you get, they will be far and few in between. If you just go straight there, before you even get into the action, they'll place a chest over there for you can get your first strong weapon for that area, and then you can kind of loot out the
yeah,
area. It's very interesting on how they do things, and that's what I kind of like about it. It's more refined in that regard.
Yeah, and you know what, man? We talked about this like a little bit, a couple of weeks ago when the game first came out. Like with this whole save thing and how they like structure the checkpoints and stuff like that. Uh, when you first play it, you don't really understand like how it works, because you're more focused on like um it's like you're focused on dying. It's almost like you're focused on dying because you know that when you like the further you get into it, right? If you die, you have to start over, right? And you do. Like there are things that a lot of things that you lose, but the game is structured in a way where um the further along you get, like the more trial and error, the more you learn like the new areas and stuff like that. Um you start getting like little checkpoints here and there with certain things. You like keep certain things that helps you get through like the biomes and stuff like that. So like when you first play it, right, you have access to, like I mentioned before when we were talking, you have access to the archives, right, which is um where you see all of the hallucinations and stuff like that, right? uh, but you don't have the item to get through it. So it's kind of like it's a roguelike, but it's also like Metroidvania style as well, a little bit, because you have to get to the point in the game where you unlock the item to bypass the biome, you know. So you could either, like you said, go through the second stage or the first biome and like get all of your health and stuff like that. Maybe get some artifacts, and then maybe if you wanted to, you can go through the second biome again, get some health that way, and then maybe go through the teleportation to then go to the third biome. Or what you could do is just skip straight to the biome, but you can't do that until you actually get the item to do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's
The
it's
key.
the key. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
say key
well, because
because
there are two.
that's a loose term because people may not know, like, item or object or whatever the case is. That's their internal
Yeah,
term.
yeah, like specifically.
So you gotta
Yeah,
you gotta
I
unlock
I
that.
go.
You gotta unlock that area basically.
Yeah, so it's like a checkpoint. It's like a checkpoint, but it's not a checkpoint, because when you die, you still lose everything, whatever, and then you go back to the beginning, and then uh, you have to start over. But like after you get to a certain point, after all of your trial and error, then you get the item that you need or the key that you need to just skip right through that shit. And now you have a choice. So now you have a choice to either like grind and get some more stuff, or just skip right to the later part of the game. So the game gives you checkpoints, but it does it in a very like it's very different, like how they give you checkpoints and stuff like that. So I mean, when the game came out, like I understand a little bit like why people are like, I want a checkpoint, I want to be able to save and keep all of my items, but then it's like you
You,
don't really understand. Like, I feel like that's coming from like just not understanding how the game
but
works. You know what I'm saying?
that's a testament to Housemark and Sony not explaining that shit. So
Yeah.
if they would have told you that there are it's a hub world, and the hub world basically allows you to go to each biome without going through each level. You can go skip to that. I guess it's hard to kind of elegantly put that there, but they had preview videos
Yeah.
that were like 20 minutes. And if people understood that your hub world has access to the other five biomes without you having to go through every one of them, it makes it a different story. Now,
Every single one of them.
right now, the
Yeah.
question would be, because I see some underwater stuff that you can go into, but I don't have that ability. Clearly, you can go
I don't have
underwater.
it
You know what I'm saying? There was a grappling hook, and clearly I wasn't able to do it, but that grappling hook allowed me to skip from the first biome to the third. I just needed to
yet.
get to that area to do it, and that's randomly generated. Sometimes it's like immediately after the first room, you can go straight there. Sometimes you have to walk some distance, but like I said, you can run straight through it. If you do decide to go to the third biome without nothing, you just want to hurry up and do it. Now you run risk of getting fucked up in the process. But if you're smooth enough, like I said, the game's very skill based. If you're smooth enough, you can get to the third biome, which is one of the hardest biomes in the game. And when you arrive, they'll give you upgraded weapons and a health pack to make sure just enough for you to kind of do your exploring and level up your character that way. But they'll give you shit. It's a very thoughtful process if you are short on time, but it's very it's
Well,
like
what?
huh.
Yeah. Oh, no, 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 no. I was just gonna say because you said they give you like upgraded weapons. What they do is they upgrade your proficiency,
I don't want to
which
confuse
will.
them by saying that, so I'm cutting things out.
I gotcha. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess in a loose way, yeah, they give you upgraded weapons. So
So like
loosely.
they'll give you an ability potential. You still gotta find your weapons. They'll give you a potential to get an upgraded weapon, and they'll give it to you really early. So like if you already looted the other two biomes and made it to the third one, that potential for you to find a strong weapon will be few and far in between. If you didn't and you went straight to it, they'll give it to you before you even hit action. That's every
Sure.
single time. Every single time. So they always think about it is the more I play, the more I understand how it works, and it's very hard to try to see what's going on because it's a little different, and it's really when you talk to when the developers are talking and they want, oh, what about a save point? What about a save point? The developers are like, I don't know how to do it, and people are like, oh, they must be shitty developers. They don't know how to do it because the fundamentals of the game, how the game learns you, is a part of that. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
but going back to the Souls games, to be perfectly honest, the game is literally. How would you define the Souls games? You have more experience than I do with the Souls games. So, how would you define it? Like how I define Returnal, how would you define the Souls games?
So when you say define Returnal, you're talking about like it's a roguelike game uh,
Well, we
mixed with a
talked
little
we
like
we we
Metroidvania.
talked we talked about how it works. It's a skill. It's a game that requires skill to progress, and it's a
Okay.
huge gamble of time if you fail. If you don't have the
Hmm.
skills, you're not moving, and you're gonna waste a lot of time. So it's in your best
Okay.
interest to have a to be very skillful. You have to be
Okay.
skillful. You have to be what is it, dexterous. I don't know how to fucking say it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My head is like foggy right now. My headache is gone, but my mind is fucked up right now. So
How would I describe the Souls games? Oh man. So right off the bat, the Souls games they have a lot more depth and layering to their gameplay. Um, like to the way that they structure everything.
right,
So and you're right, and you're absolutely right because you mentioned before that the game kind of like throws things at you to deliberately kill you, and that's just the way. It's almost like they do those things to let you know that you're supposed to die. You know what I'm saying? They want you to die, and to like continue to learn the patterns of how like the world is structured, where the enemies are, how and learn their patterns. So like you get more proficient at killing them and things like that, right? So the game is it's very layered in terms of um like how they present the mechanics to you. And I'm gonna get a little bit into that too because I know that's a little vague, but as far as like describing the game, it's very like you have to learn the patterns. It's trial and error, you know, where you go into a new area and you die, um, because the game is structured to let you die unless you get lucky. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're just lucky, where like you were like right off to the side of the path of something that was supposed to kill you, and you survived. Like
if
you're
you haven't played it
meant to
before,
die.
it's going to kill you. Period.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think that's the way that they want you to feel. They want you to feel like, um, you know, that like the more you do it, the more you understand like how everything is placed, so you don't die. You know what I'm saying? And it's like that with all of the bosses too, man. Because all of the bosses, and the funny thing is too, like once you actually learn the patterns, the game actually becomes very, very like I don't want to say easier, but it becomes easier for you to deal with the situations because you see the patterns, you know. and that's the thing. Like when you first play the game, they want you to die deliberately, but then once and you don't see the pattern at first, of how you deal with stuff. But once you actually play through it and you go through the trial and error and you start saying like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so the timing here for that makes, what I'm saying? You start seeing the patterns more, and then you know how to deal with it. So then, like once you go through it again, you're like, okay, all right, I see what you're trying to do here, And it's funny because even when you play through some of the other Souls games, like across each different like title,
Right.
you start seeing like similarities. You know what I'm saying? Like for example, like they'll put an item in the distance, and you're like, I already know it's a trap. You know what I'm saying? Because they structured the game in a way to where like they will. That's another thing that they do. They like allure you to something, to make you think that it's something useful or something that you can use on your journey or whatever. But then they kill you. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? And then sometimes it might be completely useless. So the game is like a big like troll, man, in that way. Um, and it's so deep, man. It's so deep how they like structure everything because like I said earlier, the Souls games are very like integrated, like the lore of the story is very integrated into how the game actually functions. And there's a lot to that, man. I mean, everything is so intricately placed. You know what I'm saying? So like in Returnal, everything is a little bit more procedural. It's random, but it's not completely random, but it's still random. You know what I'm saying? Um, in the Souls game, everything is intricately placed. Every single thing that you see and encounter in the game is designed in a way to like convey a story or a message to you. Um, so like at face value, right? So when you first start playing a Souls game, you're just running through the areas. You keep dying. You fight a cool boss and whatever. You just keep it moving. You keep it pushing, right? But then the more you play it, the more you start learning that okay, so this item has more significance than another one, or you see something in the environment that's like, oh, it kind of piques your interest a little bit, you know, because they do it that way. They do it in a way where it draws your attention to certain things, and they actually tell a lot of the story is told through the environments, the weapons, the items and stuff like that. Um, so but yeah, it's pretty cool like how they integrate everything into the
You
actual
said that the gameplay was really deep. Could you go into that?
yeah. So the gameplay is deep
Because
because
I'm gonna challenge that because if you're saying it's just based off of patterns, then it's
no,
predictable.
no. When I say the gameplay is deep, I mean the actual mechanics,
That's what
like
I mean.
what is possible. Yeah, like possible with what you can do in the game and how many different variations of things that you can do when it comes to like building your characters and stuff like that. And the cool part is like for example in Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne, they have uh like covenants. You know what I'm saying? Which at first you wouldn't know that. Like if you just play, like if you run into an NPC or whatever in one of the Dark Souls 3 or Bloodborne or whatever the case, you're just like, okay, that's a pretty cool character, or that's a weird character, But they're actually part of the story. You know what I'm saying? You don't really see like the back end of the story, but if you actually pay close attention, you could see it, right? But the reason why I brought it up is because those like little NPCs and those covenants and stuff like that, they function with the game. So you can actually join a covenant. You know what I'm saying? If you follow the story for them, you could join their covenant. And it's cool because like one covenant might be like the enemy to another covenant. You know what I'm saying? So it functions in that way. Like the
Well, how
mechanics
does that
function
affect the gameplay?
because, like, for example, in Dark Souls 3, right? There are certain covenants that are like allies. Like the Way of the Blue, the Moonlight Sword, the we call them Sun Bros, but they're called the Warrior of Sunlights. They're basically allies. They're not enemies, right? But then you have covenants like the Aldrich of the Deep. I forgot what that one was called. Uh, and then you have like the Rosarius fingers and stuff like that. Those covenants are like enemies to other covenants. So like if you're a warrior of sunlight and a blue sentinel, you're not going to clash because you're an ally. But if you're a Rosaria's Fingers and like a Warrior of Sunlight, according to the lore and the story, they're enemies. So you essentially, you make an enemy with different covenants or allies with different covenants. You know what I'm saying?
But how does that affect the gameplay?
It does. Yeah.
No, I'm asking.
Yeah. It affects the gameplay. Yeah.
How?
Like, um, what's a good example, man? Like there are like for example, if you join a certain covenant, um, there are weapons and abilities that become inaccessible to you. You know, so
Okay,
if you
so basically each faction you go to say faction,
yeah it's like a
it will
commitment.
be it either locks or unlocks certain class types of
Yeah,
weapon.
yep, it's a commitment. Yeah, like you have to be committed to
Matchmaking.
one faction or whatever. They're called covenants, whatever you want to call them, factions, whatever the case. Like you have to
Long
actually be
time.
committed to that. Otherwise, like I said, you'll lose access to certain things. Because like you can't do like an all faith build and then be like a Rosaria's Fingers. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't do that all in the same playthrough because they're two different covenants. So depending on what you choose, you know, and you can make like a conscious choice to be like, okay, I want to build my character this way, so I'm going to choose the Rosaria's Fingers. Or I want to build my character this way, so I'm going to go with the Warrior Sunlight or the Blue Sentinels. Shit like that. And it functions the same way with Bloodborne and some of the other ones too.
But that doesn't sound
Where
like it's like gameplay altering other than like the weapons.
well, in terms of like, I mean, if you die or something like that, not really. I mean, it's just cool to see like how they integrate the story into the mechanics of the gameplay. But as far as like how it affects the gameplay, um, I mean, there are certain perks that you get from joining different covenants. I mean, outside of uh, like losing access to certain weapons and stuff like that. So, like for example, here, I'll give you another example. So in Dark Souls 3, they have man, what were they called? The Spear Churches. So the Spear Church, once if you join that covenant, what will happen is um, every time, and actually it can happen at any point when you're in the game. Once you actually join the covenant, it will warp you back to the area where you were able to first access that covenant, and you fight as a boss. So and you act as like the basically the wall between the character progressing in the story. You know what I'm saying? And they have to kill you. They have to kill you to continue forward. So that's one way like the covenant affects the game, like the gameplay. Or like I said, for example, you have like the blue sentinels, and then you have the way of the blue. So like if you're a way of the blue in Dark Souls 3, your function or your okay, so how can I explain this, because this shit is kind of hard to explain. So the blue sentinels are drawn to the person who is a part of the way of the blue, but they're two separate covenants, right? So if you're part of the way of the blue, the way that the game functions is that if you're part of the blue sentinel covenant, you're going to get warped into the way of the blue's world to help them if they have invaders, which the invader could be the Rosaria's Fingers. You see what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
stuff like that.
so basically invaders, because again you have to take into account some people haven't played the Souls games. Invaders are people, if I'm hearing you right, that can invade your game. Actual people, correct?
Yeah, yeah. So invaders are other players, so there's like a multiplayer aspect to it as well. And when people, like when you're online, people could invade your world, and there are items that you have to find and extract from the
So
world, because you don't get this stuff like right at the beginning of the game. Like you have to actually dig into like how to find this shit.
so I guess
Um,
my question here is, you mentioned deep gameplay, and I take that literally at face value. What I want to know, because the stuff that you're explaining ties heavily to story, which the Souls games is much better at the story to my
it
knowledge,
does.
because they had years and years and years of doing it. This is Housemarque's first,
Yeah,
you
crack
know,
at the narrative stuff. Yeah.
crack at the narrative, and they've tried. Well, they are tying it into a roguelike experience with bullet hell and stuff like that. Fine. In terms of intricate gameplay. No covenants, none of that. You swinging your weapon or shooting your weapon at an enemy. What
Hmm.
makes it deep?
So, I mean, they're just. I mean, I guess I don't really know exactly what you're looking for, but I mean, the
So I'll explain to you.
okay,
There
yeah. Explain to
there's
me
a lot of
what.
nuance in Returnal. There is phasing through projectiles with your dash, but then your dash also works as a traversal um, ability to cover chasms or to get away from something very quickly. So there's many different, like you have one function that does many different things, or there's three different things in this case: either traversal,
Okay.
evade, or you can do like aggression.
Okay.
Not
Yep.
only
Okay.
that, but
I
the
see.
game starts to break down to smaller pieces because you
Mhm.
have a stagger meter as well. I guess the closest thing would be a stamina meter for uh, uh, the Souls games. You can't. You the only nuance that I could see in the Souls games is you can only swing so many times or roll so many times. You can only do. You have to balance your stamina to make sure you don't get tired too quickly. And since she doesn't have that issue, what they do is every single aspect of your controls are modifiable, whether it's the length of cooldown for your melee or dash or fall damage or reload time. All of that plays a massive role into the nuance of the game. You
Into
know,
the actual gameplay.
right? You got,
Um.
and then not only that, but then they add things that are random. There, you have
Yeah.
the parasites. The parasites have a buff and debuff at the same time, and you got to decide for yourself: is it worth having this debuff? And all of them are worth it, but all of them are not worth it. It
Mhm.
depends on who you are and how you play. They give you so many options on how to play, which is one of the reasons why certain biomes you can walk through if you're a certain person, and other ones it's you suck at. You know,
Mhm.
it depends on how you play and how you get around. The game is
Yeah.
predictable to a degree of the projectiles. There are definitely a pattern. There's a lot of them, but there's a pattern where you can go through. But that pattern, yes, you can see it, but it's all about execution. You can see it all day and all night, but you evading
So
it.
okay, I get what you're saying. So in terms of if there are different mechanics
Because
that
it sounds like
serve
you
different.
fanboying for the game right now. Just saying.
No, 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 no. I mean, hey, man, I just love the Souls game. but in terms of like if one function, like one action functions like differently for different things, or you could use it to function for different things, like Returnal. In terms of the nuance of the gameplay, in that way, it's different. It doesn't function exactly like Returnal,
No. I'm not
but
asking
there
for the things that are the same.
are, like, for
I'm talking
example,
about your nuanced stuff that you said, the
yeah.
deep
So
stuff.
yeah, yeah. So, like, for example, um, through your exploring, like, whatever the worlds in Dark Souls and Demon Souls and stuff like that, right? You'll come across certain NPCs, right? Like I said, that's all tied to the story as well. It's all everything is integrated. So you'll come into NPCs, right, which will give you like a specific item, right? So um, certain items will give you the option to either progress in certain ways in the story or certain areas, or they will actually give you like abilities and buffs. So you have a choice, you know. So it gives you nuance in that way to where um like it changes how you like interact with the game, um based on what you choose to do with the items and stuff that you get, because like certain items have multiple functions in the game. You know what I'm saying? Like one particular item could progress you in a specific way of the story, um or what the item could do is it could function by making you more powerful to give you an ability or something like that, you know. So, and there are a lot of items in the game that do that. Even in Bloodborne, you know, there are items that you use as keys to unlock certain narratives, which in turn
Yeah, but
unlock certain.
it all is coming back to narrative. I'm talking about gameplay.
That's what I'm saying. It's all integrated. So
No,
like
I
if you
know,
choose
but
one,
you should be able to remove the narrative from the gameplay. I'm talking about how does the game work in terms of you attacking and defending.
I mean, in terms of attack, and I mean, the game like in terms of the actual you press R1 to attack. That's what it is. You press R1 to attack. You know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't really change. You know, you press R2 to do a heavy attack. That shit doesn't change. You know what I'm saying? Like you have different ways that you can approach battles. Like for example, you said like you could just tap R1 and you have to manage your stamina. Well, what you could do is you could just fucking parry the enemy. You know, and because but then you have to learn the timing for it. You know, you have to learn the pattern for when you have to parry them. Then you don't have to worry about stamina. You know what I'm saying? Or you could just step to the side and backstab them. You know, so there are nuances in that way. You know what I'm saying? And it all comes from learning how the enemies work and their patterns and stuff like that.
So
You know,
it's
in
not
terms
as
of
a complicated game. It's not isn't a complicated. It's not as a deep game combat wise.
well, I guess it depends on how you look at it because if you're talking about um like in terms of like Returnal, like one specific action serving five different functions, no, you know.
No, I'm
But
just
in
saying
terms
just
of
the
like,
layers in general. Because like
yeah,
when I'm talking about layered act, I mean when I'm talking about when you say something like it's deep, and you gotta look at fighting games for instance. You know what I'm saying? There's iframes. There are I mean overheads and low attacks and mid attacks, and it's like it's evolved way beyond rock paper scissors at this point. You know what I mean? There's clashing, there's trading hits. There's a lot of different things, and none of that. I would say this. The I'll say about the nuance. I'll talk about the nuance of what I found, since you're having a difficult time with this. So the nuance that I could say, because you have different stats, right? And here's my issue with the Souls games. This is why I said that to me, what Returnal is, it's a more refined experience gameplay wise. Gameplay wise, it's way more refined than the Souls games. When I look back and see the other Souls games, the one that Sekiro and stuff like that, you got the parry, and stuff like that, and that's fine. But there's nothing really else to it, but hitting a button at the same time as being attacked or something of that nature. And it doesn't make the game repetitive, but once you know how to beat the game, you know how to beat it. What really is a challenge is if you look at speed runs when it comes to the Souls games, a lot of that requires glitching and bypassing. So you have to look at how the bosses are. There are nuances in there. I don't know why you didn't mention this, but it was curious. So let's look at Bloodborne. You have enemies with poison, and you need items to kind of protect you against poison, as well as enemies also have fire weaknesses. Now they don't tell you it, but a lot of times you can look at it and be like, "This looks like a fleshy character. You probably burn this bitch to death." You know what I'm saying? So you got that. You also have this blunt versus sharp versus pierce. You know what I'm saying? Those particular nuances that are infinitely in Demon Souls important, because you'll be wasting a lot of fucking time. Then you have your weapons will dull over time. Then you have your armor itself, which slows you down depending on if you have a lot of it or a little bit of it. So there are a lot of things to think about when you are playing the Souls games. Now, less so with Bloodborne and Sekiro, but still, there's those nuances that you have to consider. That's why I was like kind of hoping you would say, so we can do an accurate analyses between the two. To me,
I mean, I, I guess I see where you're coming from. Like because you're talking more like new. You're talking more like nuances in terms of like
exactly what I asked,
um
gameplay wise.
yeah, but then you mentioned things that things that you could acquire in the game. You know what I'm saying? So like there are a lot of different nuances with things that you can acquire and how it changes the way the game functions. You know what I'm saying? Or how you interact with it, I should say. You know
Well,
what
I
I'm saying?
mentioned that with Returnal.
Um,
You pick up either artifacts or whatever the case is to add stagger and stuff like that. You know, so to be honest with you, it's almost like when you look at the Returnal game and you look at the Souls games, it's almost like a yin and yang. You know, they both are very nuanced, but they are nuanced on the opposite ends of the spectrum. One is shooter and the other one's melee. You don't got to worry about peers and shit like that. And from my knowledge, you don't have to worry about the type of weapon. You know, I mean, the type of projectile when it comes to Returnal. You know, certain ones have stagger. So actually, though, you do because you have some ones that are like goop, and it will do AOE damage, or I'm sorry, damage over time. Excuse me, not area, but it would do damage over time. But a lot of it is like you really, it's so well defined to the actual your gameplay. I feel like the game breaks down terribly in the Souls games because they are literally expecting you. Well, they're not expecting you. It's to me, and this happens with a lot of Japanese games. They're usually broken. You could easily break their games. Like in the Souls games, you can upgrade your character to the umpteenth thing. Yeah, there's hard caps and there's hard and soft caps and stuff like that. But all of that kind of pushes you to a certain build, and all of that leads to if you have the Souls games to magic. Your distance, and they're all of them are weak to magic. So you have
that's not true.
all right.
But
So
go ahead.
explain. You telling
Because
me
the game,
you telling me that magic isn't like OP? Because I thought you said that before, and
it
that's
is OP. It is
okay.
OP.
That's what I
It
knew.
is. But Magic is OP in every RPG game, man.
Not
For the
everyone.
most part,
Not everyone.
everyone that I've played, Magic is always OP. Always, always. I haven't come across many situations where Magic isn't OP.
But
And it's just the nature.
that's not a reason to condone it either.
When I say so, Magic is the way that they balance the magic in games like Demon Souls, or I'll use like Dark Souls 3, for example, right? So your movements are significantly slower. You know what I'm saying? When you use magic, so it gives other players the opportunity to like take advantage of the windows of attack of the attacking or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So if you know how to combat it, it it's not OP. You know what I'm saying? If you know how to deal with it, it's not.
Well, we're not talking about competitive. We're talking about the game itself.
I mean, it functions like anything else. I mean, like if you put like more depending on how you build your character, man. Like you could make a strength character that's freaking OP as hell, where you take absolutely no damage from attacks. You know, and the game functions that way. You know, you could build your character where you take no damage, so you don't need magic, or you could build your character where you
How
take
does that
significant damage, but
how
you
does that affect your damage your damage output if you have a character that has a lot of defense?
because you have two different stats. Like so each like you have the
Because strength in my I thought that was you damage dealt.
so strength. Okay, so you can actually put points towards strength, right? But the way that Demon Souls and Dark Souls functions, they have a scaling system, right? So if you put more points, and each weapon has its own like scaling with it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so even if you put like you can have a character that has no strength, like no attack strength, like no what do you call it, like strength or attack power, you know, but they could do a lot of damage because of the way the scaling works. So you can have certain weapons in the game that scale more to magic.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And magic will fuck a lot of things up
it will,
without you putting
but
a lot of
but then
strength in there.
again, you could get a weapon. It's balanced too, where you can get like dexterity weapons where you could scale your weapon to that, and you could fuck people up. You could fuck people up with that shit too, man. And they have a lot of different
But
like variations
there is
of
an
weapons.
easy button for these kind of games. And what I mean by easy button, there's an easy way, there's an easy path, a easier path, and it's defined as being easy. you
I
know.
wouldn't say magic is the easy because a lot of times, especially in the Dark Souls games, if anything, the easy path would be the character with more defense and strength because the game it throws more it throws a lot of enemies at you unexpectedly, and they it's an, the intention is to kill you, you know. And if you use a magic character, your defense is significantly lower than any other build, you know. So there's like a an arc that you have to get through to where you have to deal with all of these enemies attacking you. But once you get to a certain point, then you become powerful, you know, because then now you have different abilities to deal with a lot of enemies at one time or whatever the case, you know what I'm saying? So at first, I wouldn't say like a magic build is just the best choice because you'll fucking die. You have no strength or you have no strength, no defense. And the game deliberately kills you, you know, as opposed to a strength character, they have high defense and high strength. It makes it easier for people to come into the game and say, well, I don't know where to go. Let me go over here. Oh, there's a bunch of enemies. Let me just attack them. The only way that they know how, which is with the R1 button. You know, so the magic is a lot more nuanced to where you have to know how to build the character and know how the game functions. If you wanted to, you could go through the trial and narrative like anything else, I suppose. You know, and you know, try and build your character to a certain point to where it won't matter as much. You get more ranged abilities, so you don't have to interject as much and
They do
stuff
a
like
lot of
that.
weird things, at least in Demon Souls. That I was not. I'm still not feeling that shit. To me, they need to do better. They need to do better than what they're doing. And they have improved the gameplay. Like you don't
They have,
move when you're healing yourself. Like it's legitimate limitations just to balance their game, which is I'm not a big fan of. You know what I'm
true.
saying? Those type of things is like why does this why on earth in that type of environment would you stand still like eat some leaves while you're in the heat of battle? Like it makes that shit like that
True.
makes no fucking sense. You know what I mean? And I'm just
Yeah.
like that's fucking annoying. And then you have like when you do a bow and arrow thing, like you stay still and do it. You know you can't. You know what I mean? Shit like that.
You have to
Um,
stand still. Yeah, because the game is very like you have to commit to something. You have to make a commitment
no, I
to
know
everything.
I know that, but those things the Japanese usually do, and they're clearly doing it to balance their game, but it still doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? In terms of like logic.
Damn, Nelson just dropped out. I was just about to ask him what his thoughts were. Oh shit. Yes, we've been talking for a little while. Yo, Nelson, what do you think, man?
Mhm.
He's gonna give you like
I haven't
three
played as much
words.
Souls as you, so
He's I like
He said,
it. That's what he's gonna say.
I like eating leaves. I gotta do it a lot. I run out of the motherfuckers. need a whole tree. I need a tree.
okay, well, you know what? Okay, so let me ask you this, man, because I mentioned before you jumped in earlier that you've been playing Returnal a lot. So, what are your thoughts on that one?
I love the combat. I'm not like putting it down because I've died 747 times.
You ain't the only
You
one.
know, that's how
You're
good it
not
is.
the only one.
No, it's like 30 though.
Mine's pretty fucking
I just
high
beat
too.
Biome 1 and I got like 60 hours into the game. That's all I'm saying. But I love it. I don't care. And then the
Okay,
game crashed after I beat Biome 1. So that was
sure.
fun.
To
Okay.
me, like the way, and I know you, the lore is what lures you in, so to speak, when it comes to the Souls games. And they've made like some incredible strides to improve their gameplay, such like Bloodborne, where you can move to heal, you know what I mean, and you could trade. Now, there's some things that they don't have, which is like being too heavy, you know what I mean, it affects your movement, you know what I mean. But at the end of the day, like that's the most logical Souls games that you can come across, and they have their own type of thing too. But like you could beat an area just by over leveling your character. You know what I'm saying? So like, I mean, yeah, you commit to it and stuff like that. And I don't like the fact that when you commit to something, you can't like correct it at all. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you can because there are mechanics in the game
I
where
can't hear you.
you
Say it
can
again.
actually respect your character.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Oh, okay. No, I was saying, so you actually there are, if you commit to a certain build, there are actually mechanics in the game where you can respec your character,
Yeah.
but it requires certain items that you have to retrieve by doing certain things. Um, like in Dark Souls 3, you can go to Rosaria, which in order to respec your character, you have to get the Pale Tongues, which the Pale Tongues you have to get by joining the Rosaria's fingers. And when you join the Rosaria's fingers, her covenant, you have to kill other players in order to do that. So it's all integrated that way too. But you can like commit to a character to a certain extent and then change it if you wanted to. There's just a pathway that you would have to go, that you would have to commit to do those certain things.
I was gonna say with Returnal too, like I was getting messed up by those big creatures with the tentacles coming out of it, and then I found out if you just slash that motherfucker, you can keep slashing it, keep it stunned. So I don't have an issue with that no more.
Yeah, you can
Those
do a lot
motherfuckers
of.
were Nate me before.
You got a lot of like. A lot of it's very contextual. Well, not contextual. It's a lot. It's
You learn what works with different enemies, and life gets a lot easier.
well, they allow for experimentation. In this game. Like they'll let you know, like if you get hit, then you kind of clearly know, like I probably shouldn't have done that. Um, actually, I shouldn't have done that. Hold
Yeah.
on. Yeah,
So we've been on this topic for a while, man.
that's what I was trying to say to do the last one, but here we go. I didn't mean to do that.
No, it's an interesting conversation, man. We could bring it back up again next week, man, because we've been on it for a little while. If you wanted to,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think we should move on, man, because we're already over some time here.
All right. So
So yeah, the last topic that we have here is this whole thing with Ratchet and Clank, man. Oh man, and just a lot of the drama surrounding this game. So just the other day, um, Sony, I guess, released the embargo for the previews for Ratchet and Clank, and everybody's been, it's been I think it's been pretty unanimous that the game looks great. It looks like it's going to be a great game. Um, I mean, and they have all of these cool things like with the controller and the haptics and stuff like that. So that's pretty awesome. Um, but obviously, when it comes to being great, you always have your haters. You know what I'm saying? Um, so even amidst all of the like great stuff that we've been hearing and all the previews, we had a few people just come out of just left field, man. You know, it seems like just to deliberately downplay not only just the game, but just like I don't know, it feels like the whole situation surrounding the game. You know what I'm saying? So obviously, like with the price point to $70 and whatever the game being exclusive to the PS5 and all that stuff, right? So we had this guy. What was his name? Justin. What was this dude's name? Justin something. Um,
from where?
from Twitter. He was from IGN. He made that
Yeah,
ridiculous comment
yeah,
about
yeah. Justin
right
Error.
after, huh?
It's like Justin Error or something.
Yeah, Justin Error. Yeah, he made a comment um, right after everybody had been talking about Ratchet and Clank for like I don't know the last day or so, saying that he can't recommend the PS5 to anybody because of the fact that the library for the PS5 is just not there, um, as well as in comparison, Microsoft has Game Pass. And then he even brings up Returnal because he says Returnal is he wants to play it, but it's $70. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like he brought every single objection that people like there were fake outrages for recently, all in one tweet. You know what I'm saying? literally right after the previews for Ratchet and Clank, which is crazy. I don't know about me. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but the timing for it just seems suspicious as fuck. What do you think, man?
I mean, were you? This is about Ratchet and Clank, right?
Yeah, yeah.
He didn't mention anything about Ratchet and Clank though.
Yeah, but he said, well, he not directly, but what he said, obviously, um, it was kind of like indirect, because the previews for Ratchet and Clank had just come out, right? But then he said, I can't recommend the PS5 because the games aren't there. The library isn't there. Right after the previews. So a lot of people made a correlation between it. I don't know, maybe just looking too much into it. What do you think?
Since Nelson was just chilling there, what you got? What you think first?
I mean, like I said, I think it was deliberate, man. Because I think they knew that Ratchet and Clank was going to, garner a lot of positive conversation. And
hold on, Nelson, you still there?
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. What do you got to say about all this?
Oh, my bad. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Forgot what we were talking about. I was reading. Sorry.
About Ratchet and Clank.
And I'm pumped for that. My kid is too. Like I know I'm gonna be fighting for that shit. Like I want to play. Like no, I'm playing, bitch. We're gonna be fighting over that game. My kid still jumps on and plays the 2016 quite a bit. So that's gonna be a struggle.
Hell yeah, man.
Like, no, Dad, I want to play. Dad, I want to play. It's just gonna be a constant fight, but I'm gonna have to. I'll just have him like replay levels or something. It's only PS5 too, so I can't just be like, you can play it on the PS4. Like he don't know the difference,
Fact.
Maybe I'll just tell him it's the new one and I'll put the old one on and he won't know. I don't know. He's 5.
Give him more credit than that.
Yeah, he gonna know. I know. He gonna be like, yo, Dad, I can't jump portals like you. Like, shit, caught.
It has multiple different endings. You didn't get the item. You didn't pick up the item yet.
Yeah, I'll figure something out.
Yeah, man. I mean, outside of all of the bull crap surrounding the game, dude. I mean, there's just been a lot of positive conversation surrounding it, which is cool. Which is awesome.
Well, look at the game. Like, Pixar need to step up after seeing that game. Like, you're just not on that level no more. Shit looks crazy.
Facts, dude. I mean, hell yeah, man. I mean, the level of detail, man, that they have, like, even in Ratchet's fur, is insane.
Mm-hmm. The level of world detail, it's like people are talking about Halo. Like, this is a cartoon and it's just blowing out of the water. Combat, fucking everything on all levels.
Yeah,
cartoon game or not, it's next level shit. I do want to know what it's gonna be playing it because people are gonna get all over the res and the pixels and shit and whatever. Not how the game looks, but because I remember last year they were saying there'd be a 4K 30, and then they were saying something like 1080p 4K. That's what Review Tech or whatever was fucking going crazy about or whatever. That shit was from last year. They ain't said shit in a year.
Well, they actually debunked that though, man, because
they did, but they haven't announced anything yet. But last year they did say like there'll be a 4K 30, and they didn't really say much about there'll be a 60 frame option, but they ain't said nothing about it since like July 2020. So
I gotta read that article, man. I don't even know.
I googled it when I heard that, and I'm like, is there something I missed today? And the shit I found, basically, he probably read off an article and didn't see that it was 2020. Because they said something about in July. He probably got sent an article and he didn't look at the date on it because it said like August 2020. I seen a little thing that said like, we're working on 4K or 1080p 60 and 4K 30 right now or whatever. That was a year ago, so we ain't really heard nothing on any update on the 60 version yet.
Was that article even directly from Insomniac, or was
it was.
It was okay.
It was like an interview with them, but it was still pretty early. You know what I mean. It wasn't quite done yet. So
Yeah.
The hardware wasn't even out yet.
Yeah. Facts. I mean, I don't know. They didn't announce any specs for like what the resolution is actually going to be. Um, I mean, and to be honest with you, man, even if the game did run at 1080p, and they actually confirmed that, I mean, the game still looks incredible. I mean, with all of
There's a lot of games. There's a lot of games I play at 1080 that look better than games in 4K. It's textures and layering. There's more. There's resolution is not graphics. Like people gotta understand that.
yeah, and resolution isn't art style either.
No, it's not. Like there's a lot of games I played at 4K or whatever on Xbox, and I play a 1080p game, and the 1080p just blows it out of the water because the layers and the environmental details and shit. Like The Last of Us 2 1440 will nate anything, 4K, 8K, 25K, whatever. It don't matter because of how
Yeah,
detailed the environments are, or Ghost or whatever. Horizon,
hell
like people were you bitching that's 1440p upscaled. I'm like, but it look a lot better. I don't care. I don't
see
eat
this
with my I eat with my eyes. I don't eat with a fucking spreadsheet.
is sure.
you know, I can't
Yeah.
eat numbers. That shit don't taste good.
Man, to be honest, like I think we're at a point, man, where you know when it comes to like people when they talk about like native 4K and stuff like that, right? Um,
It's all the
eh,
Xbox because that's what they have. Like that's what they have to push. It's like we can play Ori at 4K 120. I'm like, yeah, but I mean, not taking nothing away from the game, but Ori compared to fucking Horizon Zero Dawn, like that's a little bit of a difference there, you know, in the game design.
yeah, massive difference.
yeah, people don't take that into consideration when they open their fucking mouths. It blows me away.
Yeah, see, that's why I'm not really on board when it comes to like when everybody kind of like, shits on the game for like whatever running at a lower resolution, but it still looks incredible. You know what I'm saying? Because of all of
Yeah,
the techniques and the whatever upscaling technology that they have and the stuff. Um, I mean, to me, it doesn't matter. It's like, and it never really has. I mean, it was fun like when the consoles first came out and everybody was talking about resolution. I had dropped that conversation, man, because at the end of the day, I mean, the end result is what really matters the most. Because like I said, even if Ratchet and Clank was at 1080p, upscaled to 4K, whatever the case, right? Um, it still looks better than pretty much anything that I've seen, you know, personally. And that's just the end result. The end result of the game just looks incredible. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, and its game type depends a lot. If you remember, like, you ever played Ridge Racer 7? It was one of the first games I had for PS3. Because it's a racing game, that shit ran at 1080 60. Everything else ran at 720 30. You know what I mean? Because it was a racing game.
Yeah. No, I
You,
never played it actually.
well, it's a really good looking game for PS3. It was like a launch title, 1080p like 60. Like we had a hard time getting that on the next generation.
hmm
But it was a
Fact.
racing game. It's easier, like a flight simulator or a racing game. It's easier to make games look and run fast or really good because you don't have to get up real close in detail with shit. You know what I mean? You're
Yeah.
rendering at a distance.
What do you have to say, Josh?
I'm a little when it comes to the Ratchet and Clank. I'm a little bit nervous about like. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna say what it is. I don't listen. I like women just as much as the next straight guy, but I just don't like the direction that just media in general has been going into. It's like you have to shit on a dude just
hmm
to exalt another. You know, and Insomniac has been really enthusiastic about Ribbit, which is fine, and I get it. It's an I don't want to give any spoilers out, but there's a reason why she's who she is, and it makes sense story wise. But my biggest issue is like it's just I don't know. Like I just hope to not play this game and have some sort of virtue signaling somewhere in this game as well. Like I just, I'm getting a little bit tired of it. I mean, in terms of the graphics and whatnot, like you guys were saying, resolution wise, I mean, ultimately, I told you about this yesterday, Ken. Resident Evil is a 4K. It's actually a 1500p game, but it looks almost identical to 4K because of their checkerboard upscaling techniques. So resolution is becoming one of those things where it's starting to become irrelevant. Anyway, the same thing is you go on Twitter and it's definitely like a it's an isolated incident when they talk about like, oh, the frame rate sucks and blah blah blah. Look at this. Oh, Returnal runs at 1080p. Blah blah blah. No one's on the PlayStation side really gives a damn. They like the game. So you're gonna see a lot of things too. But in terms of the media, kind of like attacking PlayStation and attacking, it's a kids game and no one's gonna really play it and stuff like that. And I don't know what's going on with that one. I mean, I feel like people need to take a break from social media and shit like that. It's all negative. Nothing's really positive. It's like you get something positive and then it's hit immediately by something negative. So
I know people down in Ratchet and Clank, but oh, did you know this game from 2006 is at 120 frames now? That's amazing. Like, okay, still look like dick.
I was looking at
You can polish a turd, but a turd's still a turd.
I was looking at the what do you call that shit again? The Mass Effect game. And everybody's
Shut
playing.
up! Don't talk no shit.
Everybody's playing and enjoying the game. Now, the PlayStation 5's version is very interesting, right? Because on a Xbox,
PS4 version, it doesn't have a PS5 version.
It's it's native to PS5, right? It's a native. This is what Digital Foundry was saying.
PS4.
No, it's a PS5 app.
I don't know. When I look at it, it says PS4 when I bought it.
Hold on for a minute.
I can take you a picture.
Give me a second here.
I'm playing it right now.
Wait, so it doesn't have a next generation patch on it?
Huh.
That's not what they were saying, though. All right, you guys can talk. Hold on.
Unless I tried to look it in PS5 store. I didn't see it, so.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys, man. I'm not the biggest Mass Effect fan.
I am. I'm the biggest one in the world. My favorite trilogy of all time. PS4 Legendary Edition.
Nah, man. I mean, it's a good game. It's like a good franchise. I played the first game a little bit. I played
the first one's rough, but they're all good.
Yeah. No, I mean, I played
the first one's rough.
Yeah. I think the one that I played the most was probably 3. Mass Effect 3.
3 had the best combat. 2 had the best dialogue.
You're accurate.
I know.
There is
no
He said I know.
There is no like I've misheard them.
Nah, they just say that shit and expect nobody to notice. There's a difference.
Like there's ambient occlusion. It's clearly running better hardware. So using the better hardware, but it's still considered a PS4 app. The only reason why it's not like I didn't believe you. I wanted to know why they said what they said, basically.
Yeah, I mean, you guys would know better than me, man. I haven't. I mean, I played them, but I haven't really been keeping up with it, to be honest with you, man. I mean, I know that they just came up with the collection for it. I assumed that it was a like a PS5 patch for it, but like I said, I haven't really been keeping track of it like that. So
they both run at 4K.
Yeah. So
like they
cool.
probably did that acceleration thing like they did with God of War or whatever, but it's not true. Like
they're using the enhanced console mode, and then basically uncapping the limit. But I was never a real big Mass Effect fan, although
I'm a huge Mass Effect fan. My favorite trilogy all time.
That's nice. So anyway, I'm playing.
That's cool.
I never got into it because of the stupid decisions they made. They should have put it on the PS3, but nope, nope, they didn't decide to do that. So I
Yeah,
don't know. In terms of Ratchet and Clank, I personally, I mean,
Oh, that's why you won't play Tomb Raider. Okay,
hmm?
I see now. Nothing. I'm just putting puzzle pieces together.
Wow, wouldn't play Tomb Raider?
Yeah, because it came out on an Xbox first.
Oh no. I don't play. I didn't play Tomb Raider because it's not made by Core Design. That's the original creators of it.
Are they even still around?
Nope, not
Well,
at all.
sucks to suck.
Eidos
see, I still have playing the old Tomb Raider games.
Eidos ripped that shit from them, and then they got fired. Then they created another studio, but they couldn't get it off the ground. The morale was already like fucked. So then they closed that down. That was the end of it. They all do like really strange jobs. They don't even do video games. Like somebody's like in the, they work as an engineer. One person does cybersecurity, like weird shit.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Um, I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say about Ratchet and Clank. Do you guys have anything else to say about it?
Not really. I mean, it's a gorgeous looking game. I just hope that they don't do this virtue signaling. I'm really hoping that that's not the direction that Sony in general is going to go. Somebody got to stand up to this bullshit to me. Like it just pisses me off so much. I am so tired of learning lessons in video games about how it's so shitty that a man is a man. I'm so sick of it. You know what? Men are terrible. That's the lesson of the day. And women are just can do everything better than you. Like that pisses me off. One thing that kind of like irritated me is that Rivet. She gets thrown in a big machine, like catches her in his hand, and somehow she's like fending off a machine.
Oh, she's like holding him off.
And I'm like, what the fuck is this? I don't remember Ratchet ever doing that. But okay.
I actually didn't even think that much into that, man. I mean, I figured, I mean, they're already like supposed heroes. I mean, like they were just doing some super embellishments, you know what I'm saying, to all of their capabilities or whatever.
I'm like, what is it? Her arm, I guess, that's making this happen. But I've never seen Ratchet do this shit. Like, never. If you can hold a big ass machine like that, then you shouldn't have no issues playing the game in general. Like little enemies in general should not be a problem at all. But I guess you can use that whole thing as that it's a kid's game, you know. But that's I see shit like that. And I'm like, oh my god, here we fucking go again. Even when I played Miles Morales, this is Spider-Man. I was like, come the fuck on, yo. Fucking goodness, man. I'm so sick of it. just so annoying.
Dude, that was so blatant though, man. I thought it was kind of funny to be honest.
This made me roll my eyes. Even when fucking Miles Morales is going to get fucking shot. Oh my god, he did nothing wrong. He can't breathe. I'm like, so fucking annoying. Out of all the people who shoots the fuck out of Miles Morales and he eats bullets, all of a sudden there's a problem with this particular cop aiming at fucking Spider-Man because he's black, I guess, and because police are horrible at this point in time. And
yeah, Peter Parker never got shot at by cops. Never happened.
yeah, they're like, ooh, oh, I'm gonna fuck this nigga up. I'm like,
he got Jay Jameson being like, "You need to kill this goddamn spider bitch."
then
All day long.
And then he was like, he got captured, right? And they were like, ooh, we gonna have fun beating this black bitch up. And I'm like, that's not how fucking cops operate, my dude. Like, that's not how that works. And everybody go get mad at me, like, oh, you a coon. Well, I have a lot of black cop friends, so every time you say defund the police, you're talking about defunding my black cop friends. That pisses me off too, because they didn't do anything.
Yeah, that
wrong.
don't just affect white people. There's cops of every goddamn color and gender.
That's what really irritates me. Like this fucking, you know what I mean? And it's like it's funny. I'm just gonna go on a tangent. I'm sorry, I have to do this, but like the problem here with all of this bullshit, men and women are different. They serve different fucking roles.
My inner's tanking, man.
You trying to tell me to hurry the fuck up? Is that what you trying to do?
Are you talking to me?
Is he trying to tell me to hurry the fuck up? Is that what you trying to say, low key? Yeah, you can.
N-
Hello?
No, no, no.
Oh, this shit sound fucked up. You heard
Hey,
this
put
shit?
that back.
Nigga, phone go.
Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. You sound like a fucking Power Rangers putty from the 90s.
I watch a lot of Power Rangers, dude.
Oh man.
Go!
Well,
Just go!
That's all I'm saying is like fucking
Fight!
men do one thing, women do the other thing. You can't cross them. You know what I'm saying? Women do not want to work in. It's not that they can't. They do not want to work in construction. Period. 9 times out of 10. You know what I'm saying? It's just flat out. You know, and men don't want to work at fucking call centers, typically, or nursing, typically, or daycares, typically. You know, like it's historically proven. You don't find.
this
You,
kid took a shit on my shoe.
you don't see like that many fucking child cares dudes in
Yeah.
that industry at all. You know what I'm saying?
I've only seen one ever.
Bro, I saw this video on YouTube, man. And it was just like popular Twitch clips or whatever. And there was this chick, she was just streaming, like regular. And then all you heard in the background, so fucking.
Was he? What?
You cut out. Hey, yo, you cut out.
Can you hear me?
No, I can.
Okay. My internet, yo. Now I was saying I was watching a YouTube video and it was just like popular Twitch clips, whatever. And it was just this girl, she was just streaming like regular, right? And you were just watching her, whatever, and then in the background you just heard just heard this dude like, I stepped in shit. It's fucking hilarious. It was like the damn dog took a shit on the floor.
I remember I stepped on a snail. That was the most
Bro.
uncomfortable thing I've ever had before. It was sticky and gummy. I was like walking barefoot, so I'm sitting there talking to a friend, and I'm walking outside of the apartment complex, and I wasn't paying attention. I didn't think that it was gonna be a snail. I stepped right on that bitch, yo. That shit felt like gum. I said, "What the fuck was this, yo?" It was like sticky, like glue. Yeah, I'll call you back, man. That shit's fucking gross.
I'm sorry, dude. I gotta send you guys that clip, man. He was like, damn dog took a shit on the floor.
But yeah, like
Man,
I'm just tired of the whole fucking thing, man. Like uh, sex is, they have their roles and they fulfill it based off of their genetics. That's just what it is. Exactly what it is. Men don't do child care shit. Even if a man was like a babysitter, people will give him the side eye. Like, nigga, what the fuck you doing this for? You know what I'm saying? Likewise, if a woman try to do construction, they be like, "Are you sure?" Like,
Only women construction workers I've usually seen as the ones that hold the signs, but like, I probably pay pretty good for holding the sign all day.
I mean, even if they did like lift shit, men are going to be genetically positioned to be better at that particular job. We have tougher skin genetically, denser bones genetically. Our pelvis is in such a way where we can move quickly because we were supposed to hunt. That's how it is. You can't go against fucking biology. no matter how much you want to try it. So when I see this shit, you know, it's fun to just kind of play around with anything you could do. I could do better shit, but let's keep it 100. Everyone has their roles.
You're such a bigot, yo.
I'm a bigot. I'm a bigot sandwich. So,
Oh man.
so
I don't know.
I don't
Well,
know. That
I don't know.
that bothered me with the whole Ratchet. I don't know yet. I'll play it and I'm gonna notate it. I'm gonna write every fucking time a man gets shitted on, because it's almost like they might as well just call it like Rivet and Clank. They might as well just call it that. Like the way that they're advertising the game, it looks like Rivet and Clank. Like fuck
We're
Ratchet.
gonna have another Last of Us on our hands, Joe.
Rize?
We're gonna have another Last of Us Part 2 on our hands.
I'm
talking about with you. With you.
Well, that's what I'm saying. What you're gonna see is Ratchet get his head bashed in with a golf club, with a ratchet. Excuse me.
Yo, that AI is dumb. This shit whack, yo.
The AI is not good in that game.
Oh god, man.
It's not. Just because they can flank don't mean that it's like the best thing ever. Like they don't give me the illusion of them living. So
yeah,
you know, it's the same. You can break the game basically. But all I'm saying is this. I mean, yeah, I look like a fucking bigot. Fuck it. I don't give a fuck. Every fucking body has a fucking role in this world. You don't expect a lion to be eating fucking grass, nor do you expect an antelope to be eating a lion. So that's what it is. Biologically, it's not designed that way. It's not that anything you can do, I could do better situation. You know, I don't understand. Like, it just kind of irritates me with the virtue signaling. Women have strengths in certain areas that men cannot ever fucking do. Why don't you focus on your own fucking strengths instead of encroaching on others? That's all I'm saying.
We're a hunter and gatherer, and they're more nature, like, you know what I mean? They're better with children and.
But they're like
feelings and shit.
You're relegating me to just being a woman.
It is what it is.
You calling me a woman? I'm offended by it.
Yo, Afro said he about to break up Abby. Yo, I just brought it up, man. Oh man.
Magnificent Black. Nope. I don't have a problem with Abby. I have no problem with Abby. I have a problem with The Last of Us Part 2, but it's not exclusive to Abby.
So would you hit that, yo?
I don't know if she's a woman. So, but let's say that she have double X chromosomes, is probably be too tight. So I probably would be incapable of penetrating her. So
that's okay, man. You can manage, man. More than one hole, man. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. She pretty much raped Owen.
I swear to God, yo.
That dude act like a straight bitch. Let me pull her hair. Like, what nigga pulls hair?
You don't?
He did. He was going like she was going to fuck him up, and he was like, "Oh, I'm just going to pull her hair like a bitch." And then he was like, "Abby," and then they played that guitar. And they had that.
We all know what happened next.
And they had that ridiculous sex scene.
I still can't believe that, dude. I you know what? I'm not even. I can't, yo.
That's all I'm saying. Like, damn, y'all Discord sleepover. No, we've been doing this for like what, 2 hours, right? About a little over 2 hours.
Yeah, I think it's about time we start wrapping this up.
Oh, let's do your outro.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was a pretty good show tonight, man. But yeah, I think we're pretty much gonna wrap it up, man. Do you guys have anything else you want to say before we wrap this up?
Nope. Sorry I was late. Kids needed to eat, and my wife put in her garden today and shit. So, fucking kids were all full of dirt and shit.
Okay. No, that's all good, man. I mean, you got a family.
It's that time, like, I'm an hour behind you and shit, so it's like dinner time when this one starts. So usually I'm rushing to try and get on, but there was just too much shit I had to do beforehand, and along with that.
Yeah. No, it's all good, bro. I mean, you got a family, you got kids, dude. I mean, it is what it is, man.
He's a family man.
You got anything you want to say, Josh, before we close it out?
No, I said too much.
All right. Well, all right, man. Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That's the end of today's show. Just make sure you hit us up on social media. Follow us on Twitter. That's Culture of PS on Twitter. Obviously, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and join the Discord. Because we're always in there talking and doing whatever. So
Always looking to grow.
Yep, always
Get
looking
new
to grow.
members.
Yeah, man. We need more people in there, man.
And plus,
we're trying to create
plus,
an awesome.
we all
Awesome culture.
we all share nude pictures.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep,
we do.
Oh God. But yeah, the last thing I want to say before we close it out, though, is right now we are currently running a giveaway for Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. And yeah, just if you want to learn more about that, just hop into Discord. We got all the rules in there, but that's pretty much it, guys.
Hey, did
you want to be
Chico join? I sent him a link again. He was listening yesterday.
Who was?
Movies Plus. I don't know if he did
Yeah.
yet.
Who
magnificent? Cancel Josh.
who was listening?
Oh man, yo, that's funny.
Shaquille. I forget his screen
Who the
name or
fuck
whatever,
is
but he was
that?
making comments yesterday.
Oh, and
you were like, "Yo, join the." Yeah.
oh, the fucking, I forgot what the fuck his name is. I tried to get him to, like I said, it was in there. He was just.
I
Like,
sent him a link yesterday, and he was like, "All right, I'll join that." But he was in the middle of Days Gone or whatever. See, he ain't played all these great PlayStation games till recently. He is trying to game as much as possible because he's got to catch up from last gen.
He's
My
a
man's probably
family
throwing
man,
himself back right now,
and
Going
his
through it.
balls is worse than his bite.
Oh man. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much it, man. Yeah. Just check us out next week. We'll be here again at 7:00. Talk some more PlayStation culture.
PlayStation culture rated PG-13. We stop.
Nah, we ain't PG-13.